So today we're combining the mole map with our molar mass that we did yesterday. Okay. So because molar masses are unique to each element or compound, like we saw, we can use them to convert to and from the number of moles of their substances. So once everybody fills in their two blanks, we're going to write something else in on the mole map. Okay. Good to go? I promise I'll put it back up.
Do you want? I want to write down that.
No, you don't have to write this down. Alright, right here. Okay, mole map time. So yesterday, or on Wednesday, we used the mole represented particle ion section. Now we're going to go between the mass and the moles. So in the mass circle, our unit for mass is going to be grams. So you can go ahead and write grams in on there. Okay? So anytime you see grams, whether I tell you it's mass or not, it's mass. Okay? And so then notice how it says molar mass to get between. And so for every problem today, we're going to have to find molar mass, and we're going to have to do the parentheses divide dimensional analysis stuff. Okay? So we're still going to figure out our start and our end, and then go from there. Alright? So there's 4 examples that go along with this, but we're only going to go 2 today, and I think we're going to do 2 more on Monday to refresh our brains on how this works. But we'll just do 2 today. Is everybody good with these blanks? Yes, ma'am? Okay. So for our first example, we're going to go moles to mass. So what is the mass in grams of 9.45 moles of aluminum oxide? So just like we did on the Avogadro side of stuff, we're going to figure out our start and end. Okay. So what are we starting with? Moles. Remember, we start with the unit on the number is going to be our starting point. So we have 9.45 moles, so we're going to start with moles. And then we're going to go to, we want to know mass in grams. So that's going to be the mass circle. And to remind myself, that just means that our unit at the end is going to be a G for grams. So I'm just going to put a little G there to remind us later. Okay? So now, the next step, we can put our number that we start with over 1. And then, when we look at our mole map, we can figure out where we're going to plug things in. So, we said we're going to start in the moles and go to mass. So, starting in the moles in the middle and going to mass, using the right arrow, do we put molar mass on top or on bottom? On the top. On the bottom goes the 1 mole. So I know that already, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. But we need to still figure out the molar mass. Okay? So to figure out the molar mass, this is where the aluminum oxide comes into play. So, is it an acid? No. Does it have prefixes for molecular? No. So it's ionic. Does it have polyatomic ion? No. So they're from the periodic table. We're using the charges first, not the numbers, not the molar masses. So what's the charge on aluminum? +3. And oxide stands for oxygen, so what's that charge? -2. So what's our formula going to be? Al2O3. Okay. So now we can use the numbers. So we're going to take 2 times aluminum. So what's aluminum's number? 981. Okay. And then add it to 3 times 15.999. Oxygen you'll have memorized by Monday, I promise. There you go. Alright, so then when we add those together to get the total molar mass, what do we get? 101.959. Okay. Somebody confirm that? Okay. 101.959. A lot of repeating numbers there. You know how yesterday I kept harping on the fact that your unit needs to be grams/moles? G/mole. We don't have to write that whole thing down. in our conversion.
Dude, that is totally me. I'm not even kidding.
So, on the top, because we are recording, um, Mr. Bice just rode by on the carpet cleaner, in case you're wondering, people who are watching the video. And he was chasing somebody. Okay, you know how we have one mole down here? This is taking the place of the slash mole in the unit. So we're not going to put the slash mole anymore. We're just going to put the 101.959 on top. And then we just put a grams there. So the per mole is already taken care of. We don't have to put it. Okay? So then by filling that in, the moles will cancel away and we can solve. So are we going to multiply or divide here? Multiply, because they're both on top. So what do you do? What do you get when you multiply? 5, 1, 2, 5, 5. Okay. And then we do need to do sig figs in units. Whenever you're doing sig figs, look at the original problem's number to do sig figs. So that's how many? 3. So I'm going to cut it at the decimal this time. Am I going to round up or stay the same? Round up. So we have 964, and the unit is grams. Okay? So that's going from the mole circle to the mass circle. So now we're going to skip example 6, and we're going to go down to example, do you guys want to do 7 or 8? It's your choice. 8? 7? 8? I hear 8 a lot, so I guess we'll do 8. The Roman numeral in number 7 tells you what the charge is on iron. Okay, we'll probably do that on Monday. Alright, how many moles is 15.60 grams of hydrochloric acid? Alright, where are we starting? Mass. We have 15.60 grams, so that's in the mass circle. And we're going to stop at the moles. How many moles? Alright, so then I'm going to go ahead and put my 15.60 grams over 1. What type of compound is this? An acid, because it has acid in the name, right? So in order to figure out, so acids start with what? H plus 1. And then to know what goes with the H, we have to maybe look at our acid table if you don't remember. If it's hydro and ic, or hydrochloric, is that the IDE, the ITE, or the ATE? The IDE is from the periodic table. So it's chlorine, and what's that charge on chlorine? -1. So they cancel out. So our formula for hydrochloric acid is HCl. So that's nice. We don't have any subscripts. So what's the number for hydrogen? Alright, and the chlorine? And when you add them together, 36 point what? 461? Okay. Oh, I forgot to ask, where does the molar mass go? So, in the second step, if we're starting the mass circle and going to moles, it goes on the bottom. So I'm going to have 1 mole over 36.461 grams. And that way, grams will cancel away. This time when we solve it, are we multiplying or dividing? Divide, because they're on opposites. So then, when you divide, what do you get? 427. I'll just stop there. Okay. So, how many sig figs do we have this time? 4. That 60.60 means that you have 4 total sig figs. That 0 does count. Okay? So, does the 0 before the decimal count on our answer? No. So when I go, I cut after the 8, and so that's going to be 7. 7, 9, and then moles. And that's it. So it is a little bit more work, but it's the same process of what we've been doing the last couple days.